Good afternoon, this is Media Center Ukraine, Odessa. We continue for today. And now we are having with us Serhii Tetyukhin, Deputy Mayor of Odessa. He will speak about international cooperation of Odessa with other cities and regions since the start of the full-scale aggression. Mr. Tetyukhin, soon there will be 1 year since Russia invaded Ukraine. Share us, please, details of international cooperation of Odessa with other cities and regions. What projects have been implemented? Good afternoon to everyone. Today I would like to present kind of a report about received humanitarian aid in Odessa. At the beginning of the full-scale invasion, the biggest task was to create an open, transparent, and effective system to record the humanitarian aid that was sent to Odessa and to disseminate this further on. The system that would be clear for our Western partners, donors, and providers of humanitarian aid. Today I can say that thanks to unified efforts of volunteers, the society, the city council, we have made this and we have created such system. We received humanitarian aid from 16 countries of the world. That was quite a difficult logistic task. And so we also need to organize logistics of this support. Our main focus was sister cities, and after that we were able to work systematically with big foundations and organizations, including World Central Kitchen, the UN with the range of programs, the Swiss Bureau of Humanitarian Aid, our twin cities, and ordinary people from all over the world that supported us financially or in the form of different products and items. We have received more than 5,000 tons of humanitarian aid, so you can imagine how much it is in kilos. And when it comes to the structure, the main element was here food. More than 4,000 tons of food that we received, allowing us to create not only a strategic reserve for our city, but also support our neighbors and other cities. And which is the most important, to support vulnerable strata of our society and support IDPs by providing food packages to them. I will share some numbers, if I remember right. Only from September to December last year, through our humanitarian centers in 4 areas of the city, provided around 1,450 food packages. At the beginning of this full-scale invasion, we have received the support from Marcel, which provided to us the first fire engine, and this is kind of a military vehicle that can operate in difficult conditions, and we used it after missile attacks and was involved in the rescue operations. And that fire truck was the start of creating a very powerful municipal emergency service that already received a fire truck from Geldelberg. This is kind of a tower truck that allows us to put out fire at around 30 meters. All trucks, all vehicles have been already certified and are used with the state emergency service and are involved in liquidating consequences of fires other incidents and emergencies. We have received 52 items of means of transportations for this period. This is quite a significant number because we received jeeps, pickups, and we have now special jeeps that are used by the armed forces of Ukraine and territorial defense units. They are also used to evacuate wounded from the combat zone. Apart from that, we also received buses, including 2 big buses from Klaipėda, allow us to quickly evacuate large families. If I'm not mistaken, we managed to evacuate around 500 people. That also allowed us to effectively and quickly evacuate children, elderly, and also fulfill transportation tasks in our city. We also cooperated with such agencies as GIZ, DHW, allowed us to update our fleet. We received 2 specialized tower tracks, and that was a direct support of the German government. And these trucks, these towers are also used in our city. And we can see that those barbarian attacks on our critical infrastructure that interfere with power supply, but we managed to provide the equipment needed for the renovation and repairs. If you need more details, I'm ready to provide you the numbers. We also received equipment from Italy, including ambulances in the amount of 13 items, 32 ambulances from Germany, and 4 from Lithuania. Moreover, when there was a danger of damaging our port plant, we received more than 4,000 gas masks that are used by our municipal services. And now we have also a reserve of the gas masks to provide them to civilians in Kotovskovo district. You know now that our main priority is generators. The main task is to provide the needed number of generators for power security of our city. As I've already mentioned, on the 25th of February in 2022, we received information from Germany that we can spend 500,000 euro to close our urgent needs. And the first thing we did was to buy 50 generators on the 25th of February to meet the needs of our cities. Some of the generators were sent to the checkpoints, others were sent to the police stations. It was important to have them there as well. We also had to solve logistics issues, and we agreed with the government of Germany to buy fuel that we used for the transportations mentioned. And the geography was quite extensive. There were no borders for this. For example, the first aid kits for our territorial defense units were supplied from Denmark. So we solved all the issues on our own, and our services disseminated these first aid kits, and the value of such supply was around 7,000 euro, and of course we couldn't cover this by ourselves. Looking back now, we can speak about the huge amount of work done. We closely cooperated with the regional humanitarian headquarters to solve the transportation issues. And I can make just a few examples. We received 150 lung ventilation units from the United States and 75 for the city. And together with the Foundation United Help Ukraine, we were able to solve the transportation issues, first by the aircraft, then by train, and then by trucks. All this transportation delivered this machinery to the hospitals, not only in Odessa, but also to Mykolaiv. We could also provide this equipment to the hospital in our oblast. And we also had a unique operation to transport a neurosurgical microscope. And it was done through the Rotary Club Lviv with the support of German NGOs, the Lviv Military Hospital. And now this unique neurosurgical microscope is used to save the lives of our people, including the wounded. Why is this operation unique? It was impossible to transport this microscope otherwise than in the vertical position. So if it was inclined for more than 5 degrees, it could damage the device. Thanks to such operations, we gain trust of our partners. I've already mentioned the issue of generators. And now we have in the city 17 powerful generators from 100 kilowatts to the 1 megawatt. These generators have now been established in the boiler rooms and the heating rooms of our city within the energy security program. So we are not only discussing the program, but we have already started operations. These powerful generators will be installed at 8 heating stations that will be able to heat around 400 block of flats. We have also calculated that this will be around 70,000 people provided with proper heating. The work is ongoing. We have received in general 17 powerful generators, 6 from 40 to 60 kilowatts, and 224 generators of lower capacity. But they'd allow us to open invincibility points to help police to solve their issues and also to support other units responsible for critical tasks. That also allowed us to organize heating points. In generally, when it comes to the structure of our work for the last year, our team managed to involve 16.4 million euro general aid to meet all the needs that we had. We continue developing the energy security program for our city. So first, we need to ensure a smooth operation of the heating system of the system. Secondly, we need to ensure enough stocks of potable water for the city. So we need to provide generators to all pump stations. Now we are working on joining the project of the Green Cities of Ukraine. This is the program of the EBRD. This program will allow us to attract additional financing to our city. So we have been considering the project for collecting and purifying water that is discharged in the sea through the so-called collectors. Though actually this is one more source of the drinking water, which is now very important. We continue cooperation with such organizations as the UN Development Program, and thanks to the UNDP, we could repair 2 bomb shelters. I would like to remind you that we have 85 bomb shelters in general. And that project was successful. We are waiting for the mission of the UNDP representatives, and they are ready to support us with repairing 7 more bomb shelters. Now we are talking about complex repairing of bomb shelter, including the ventilation systems. So we mean the whole range of efforts to make these bomb shelters as much operative as possible. What bomb shelters do you mean? This is in Primorsky Rayon. I will be able to share the addresses later. There were several bomb shelters where journalists were invited, and they were quite nice. So yes, it was in Spiridonovskaya Street, and if I'm not mistaken, Paustovskaya or Pantelemonovskaya Street. So there are 5 more to go, at least 5 more, and we hope to have even more repaired bomb shelters. So it will be around 10% of bomb shelters renovated using the donor support, and thus that will allow us to use budget funds to fulfill other tasks. So this is the work done the last year. We continue our activities and cooperation. At the beginning, we were a bit worried. Our team was a bit worried, but there are no worries anymore. We understand now that we can do everything, but this is very important to join our efforts for us to work in the same direction. Because, for example, when there was the question to organize the single hub involving volunteers, officials, representatives of municipal council departments, and all of them were involved in inventory of humanitarian support. That was really very effective, allowing us to create an open, transparent system. And despite the fact that back then there were huge scandals all over Ukraine about related to abuses with regard to humanitarian aid, we were able to create the transparent system mentioned. And as far as I know, we gained trust of our international partners, and they are ready to continue implementing their projects in Odessa. Thank you. Do we have any questions from the floor? Wait for the microphone, please. Mr. Tetyukhin, I have the following question. As for the developing of objects to generate electricity that was mentioned already in January, can you provide more details about the project, and do you plan to involve international partners in these projects? Thank you. Of course, the situation now has demonstrated that we should not only ensure the safety and security of our infrastructure, but we also need new capacities and new facilities. The city cannot build such places to generate energy on its own. So this should be covered either by the state or by investors. We think that we will have investors because even 1 year ago, the Turkish company AXA was ready to build the generation plant that can produce energy during the winter period. But because of the invasion, the plans were postponed. But we understand that the war will be over sooner or later, and I hope that Ukraine will win this year. So we are constantly monitoring the situation, and we can say that the number of investors interested in such projects is increasing. We are on our side should ensure technical conditions. We should provide specification of our needs in terms of power, supply, and heating. And when developing the program of energy security, we are developing the terms of reference to provide clear instructions and information to the investors. For example, that we need 500 megawatts of the power supply additionally. And the investor will be able to plan its constructive activities. We also have other big projects. This is the priority zone development on filtration fields and Expo 2030. And we understand that the territory will be renovated, and we will continue the development. And of course, we will need additional power facilities. Before the full-scale invasion, there were the questions about Dalnitsky carrier. Dalnitsky quarry for constructing the power supply company. So what are the developments there? If I'm not mistaken, there was the station, the degazation station for this territory using the waste gas. I don't remember if it's still operative, but it is able to produce some electricity under green tariff. And I hope that this station is still operative. And one of the issues that we have discussed within the power security system included alternative energy sources. Why I have mentioned this project of green cities, because the waste processing plant is very important for us, and Dalnitsky quarry is one of the locations which is planned for such plants that can become additional sources of electricity for our city. Do you have anyone to involve in the construction of this plant? So we have now an idea to involve funds of international organizations and to construct the sorting station in our city. Now we are conducting negotiations with the EBRD. And now there are a lot of organizations that support green investments. That's why we hope that in cooperation with the EBRD, we will be able to achieve this, because we have a great experience with the EBRD with regard to modernization of the public transportation. Thank you. If there are no more questions, Anatoly, you have a question. Good afternoon. My name is Anatoly Kosin. I'm representing Media Center Ukraine, Odessa. I have the following question. Now I can see that a lot of countries, a lot of cities have been reconsidering their twin cities. For example, Copenhagen now wants to become a twin city of Kiev. Do you have such examples for Odessa now? In 2022, Miami, Venice became twin cities of Odessa. And perhaps you've noticed the new sign of these twin cities near the city council in Odessa. So the work is ongoing in this area as well, and now there are really a lot of cities who want to become twin cities with the Ukrainian ones. So we have been working on this. Do you have any candidates this year? Like this, the cities like Gelderbank in Germany, like Dresden, they also mentioned that they want to become our twin cities. Thank you. Thank you very much for being with us today. Thank you for sharing details about international cooperation of Odessa with other cities and countries. See you. Stay with us. Stay tuned. The next week, we will have more briefings. Have a nice weekend. Thank you. Glory to Ukraine. Glory to heroes.